in the series of horror films made by the British horror company Amicus, inspired by the 1945 movie Dead of Night, which is one of the first anthology horror movies out there. It's still really well respected and even on IMDb's top 100 for horror movies of all time. If you haven't checked that out, that's a must see. It's really like almost an A minus for its time. So Amicus, the British horror company, decided to do their own style. And wow, this soundtrack is so horrible. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. It's just like stopping and going, stop. Wow. Anyway, it's the third out of 10. The first one was the Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. And the last one was Monster Club that they made. It went from 1965 to 1980. They made 10 anthology horror films, including... Wow, this is terrible. I'm so sorry. This is like a 90s action movie right here. This is like the Cry Wolf soundtrack. It almost sounds like... I gotta turn that down. Anyway, on to the movie. What a The House That Dripped Blood, 1970. What a crock. British horror. There's not even a teaspoon of blood, and they were more known for their suspenseful horror. It's still a good movie for what it is, but what a crock. What an awesome name gone to waste with no blood. There's even blood on the poster right here. Art for this. Amazing cast. Peter Cushing, this guy can transform into anything. Like, so many wide range of characters he's played in this one. Basically, the concept of this, it does 4 stories, and it tells the story about the house that's cursed, or a lot of bad things that happen to it. The realtor isn't that much sure, and he's explaining it and telling the stories to an officer. And it's in the English countryside, and it basically... It makes you inherently evil or reflects your personality traits and learns your inner darker secrets like the Riddler and basically trolls the shit out of your life. That house is really good at trolling, IRL. The first story involves a writer. It's almost Stephen King style. And, it's really good. I'm not going to give spoilers. All the stories have a little twist ending. But this one, the first one's about a writer who gets lost into his own world and he starts to go mad, Stephen King style, with an interesting twist at the end. Second one involves the great Peter Cushing and who else? Josh Ackland, who is a guy who's a lunch pail actor. He's put in so much work. He calls himself a workaholic. He was Hans in the Mighty Ducks, you guys remember? Or the diplomat from South Africa in Lethal Weapon 2. This soundtrack is so bad it's like not even like playing anymore, even though it is. So terrible. Anyway, that one's he goes into town and he gets lost in this wax museum and it takes on another story of its own. The next story involves the great imposing figure of Christopher Lee, the legend, who is an overprotective father. He moves his daughter out into the country house, and these are in consecutive order how all these people come to their demise in the house that drip blood. Is the twist worth waiting for in this one? I don't know. Yeah, I think it's worth it. It's kind of a cliched story after you watch it. I don't want to spoil it. It's decent to watch, like I'm saying. Then the last one involves it's called The Cloak, and there's a rumor that they tried to get Vincent Price, who apparently read the script and liked the script. He wanted to do it, but he was under contract with an American movie production company to do. He couldn't do any horror movies outside of that production. He could do other movies, I guess, but not horror films. So that would have been awesome to see Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and Vincent Price in a movie. And it was an awesome role too, because the role is about a stuck-up actor, veteran actor, horror actor, who's playing a vampire, and he ends up getting a cloak that was a real vampire's cloak, and he inherits the powers of the vampire. A vampire story, and there's no more blood in the house that dripped blood. What a freaking crock. That's all I have to say the whole time. What a crock. That's what the Myers fan would say. What a crock. Trolled the shit out of all these actors. C+ for me. I'm out. This was JBM from VillainNews. This is my horror movie marathon. This was number 3. I filmed on October 3rd, 2012. Look forward to more horror movie reviews on Villain News, Villain Radio. Check out those channels. I'm out.